especially to start off with foreign affairs, because after I made my speech in Oman, people want to know what the global power situation is. As I said, there will be by 2053 powers, China, India and USA. So our foreign policy must be based on how we work with these countries. We can't be outside that. In this respect, the most important issue now is a sort of a shift in the global power, where USA is working with Russia to bring the Ukraine war to an end, and is being opposed by some of the European countries. This also, what has taken place recently, also has a bearing on Sri Lanka. And I thought I should raise that issue also. You all know the war is, and in the world, the different countries have different views. Some regard it the direct invasion by Russia into Ukraine, which has to be certainly repaired. There are others who treat it as a far more complex issue, and a few who think that Ukraine should be a part of Russia. So it's in this background that this war has gone on. And the war has not stopped. That has been the issue that has concerned us, especially under President Biden. There were attempts to handle this, and Gaza and Taiwan, all of it led to really an increase in tension and the probability of war. Now we find a different situation with President Trump coming in and trying to tackle how to bring the war to an end. Fighting with Russia is not an easy one. These are people who are used to getting bogged down and sacrificing lives to gain their objective. They burned their capital to defeat Napoleon. They sacrificed 1 million to get the 6 months delay in Stalingrad, and they sacrificed 25,000 to go from the Brandenburg Gate to the Reichstag to finish the war off quickly. So it is not easy. So the other schemes has failed. We must see what President Trump is doing. It's important that we try and bring some of these conflicts to an end. Of course, during President Trump's having taken this up, it has not been taken kindly by some of the European powers and President Zelensky. The other day, President Trump called President Zelensky a dictator for not holding elections. Then some of the people came to Zelensky's defense, saying it's wartime, and both British Prime Minister Starmer and my friend Boris Johnson said they even during the wartime that they didn't hold elections. Now, if you look at the facts, that is not correct. During World War I and World War II, the British put off elections under their constitution. They have unwritten constitution, but the Parliament Act on 1911 says you can extend the life of Parliament with the support of the House of Commons and the House of Lords. Similarly, Ukraine constitution says Parliament elections need not be held when there's martial law. So that is there for the Parliament. The work over the Rada, that's their parliament. And but it's very silent about the president. In America, they have been silent about the elections when there's a war on. So in 1812, during the war with UK, where they came and British burned the White House, they had the election on time. Similarly, in 1864, during the Civil War, Lincoln and all, they had the elections, and Lincoln was re-elected. If they have no provision, you have to have elections. We went through this issue in 1980. We had both the LTT fighting us in the north and the JVP fighting in the south. Should we put the election off or not? And President Jayawardena said, no, we must hold the election, whatever be the consequence. So we held the elections. A lot of people were killed. President Premadasa got in with a small majority. Mrs. Bandaranaike challenged it in the Supreme Court. She lost. We accepted that. So we went through all these troubles, people being killed, to hold the 1988 election. In 1993, we had provincial council elections, in the process of which both Mr. Lalit Atulat Mudali and Mr. Premadasa were killed. So we lost that also, but we held the elections. In 1994, we lost Mr. Gamini Disanayak and some of the others. In 1999, President Kumanatunga lost her eyesight. So then in 2005, Prabhakaran prevented people from voting. Nevertheless, even I didn't go to challenge it. I don't think it should be done. So if there is no provision about putting off elections, then you must hold elections. There is no other way. And not only that, Tamils who took arms against us, they have come to parliament, into government. The JVP is today running government. So it shows that we have not only held elections, but we have also got them into the system. And they are part of the system. So that is what we have done. Now in Ukraine, they have not done that. So President Trump was correct. They are having a war, they are fighting it with Russia. But they should follow the constitution. Now this is where I have a problem, because we are treated one way and the Ukrainians are treated the other way. And we have the resolution on Sri Lanka coming up in September. And the minister was there yesterday or day before. But we should really look at this whole issue now. Why are we being treated differently? We also had a war. We also went through. And the then president, Mahinda Rajapaksa, gave assurance to the Secretary General of the UN, Mr. Ban Ki-moon. We have not fulfilled it, and I say we should fulfill it. What we have, and we took steps in the last year, especially to have, I think with all the consultations, we've agreed on a commission for truth, unity and reconciliation. The other laws are there, we have to implement it. And I still stand by the fact that this commission we should bring to law, helped by Japan and South Africa. And then we should carry out what the inquiries and investigations by ourselves. But looking at what has happened, I don't think we should ask the High Commissioner for Human Rights to come into this. We should keep it out. We have Japan, we have South Africa. If you or any other country that is represented here wants it, certainly. International Bar Association, ICJ wants, yes. But I don't think we should go, because they are playing politics there. So what we should do, in my view, is now America has dropped out of the Human Rights Council. So the power balance has to change, and the BRICS will have more power. So we should talk with the BRICS and take up the issue that there has to be a fundamental restructuring of the High Commissioner's office, especially the Asia division. So I think we as Sri Lanka should get together, fulfill our commitments. And if we want to ask other countries to come, but we should keep the Human Rights Council up. But I'd expect the government, and I think rest of us, will look at what steps should be taken before this resolution comes before the Human Rights Council. You can't have two different criteria where we do everything and we are blackguarded every day, and they just don't hold elections, they violate the constitution when they can do it constitutionally and delay the president's election, and they get away. It's completely silent.